Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to a new video. My name is Prince Mason. Today we are going to be retouching this beautiful image from a photographer all the way in Jamaica. His name is McKinley Photography. Wagwan brother, how you doing? But anyways, let's get straight into retouching this image. I'll put a link in the description below to his work, so you guys should go check him out on Instagram, and also I'll put a link to the models page down below, so go check it out too. Now I have already retouched one of these images, and that's the image right here, but right now we are going to be working with either one of these images. So let's see, this or this. Let's see, you know what, let's go with this one. Let's go with this image. Okay, great. So the first thing I want to do right now is probably increase the shadows. As you guys can see, she has there's a lot of like it's a little bit underexposed, so increase the shadows, but also turn on my exposure warning. By the way, I'm using Capture One right now, which is my raw processing software of choice, but you can also do this in Lightroom. Now another thing I want to do is probably just dial down my highlights so that I don't have any part of her outfit overexposed. Okay, now that that's good, my levels, I'll probably just take that up a little bit to add some contrast to the image, and for my highlights I'll drag that in while also taking my whites down a little bit and taking my highlights down. Now the only problem I have with this image right now that I'm looking at it is that it seems like she's not looking at the camera, but for this one she is. Now this just seems like she's looking away, so I think we'll just go with this one. It's a little bit bent, but we'll see what we can do about that. Okay, so for this image we're probably going to go a different route, you know, just pull down the highlights. Let's take the shadows up a little bit. Okay, now this one she's looking directly at the camera, and let's drag her whites down to maybe add some levels, add some contrast to the image. Okay, that's 3, and maybe just drag this in just a little bit. So let's see where this image was before. So this is the before of this image, and this is the after, before and after. Okay, we don't have too many. It's so funny, when it was looking like it wasn't really bright, we had a lot of like highlights peaking, but right now we barely have highlights peaking. So at this point this looks really good. Okay, great. Now I think this looks good, and the next thing we'll do is just take this image to Photoshop. Now if you look at this compared to this just seems like it's bending a little bit towards the left. So let's see if we can straighten that freehand. Okay, well, that looks better. Still looks a little bit slanted compared to this one, but we're just using this horizon here to actually make sure that our image is straight. Okay, great. So let's take this image into Photoshop now. Edit in Photoshop. So if you follow my work, you know I love really moody edits, and that's what we are going to go for here. But at the same time, we're going to make her stand out from the background, right? Make her skin tones pop, just make her stand out from the background, and just a few other things, you know, like her hand, because she's resting it here, it's making the muscles here pop a little bit, so we have to just push that in and make sure it looks good. So right now what we're going to do is probably, let's see how much blemish she has. Not a lot, there isn't so much to remove there, but I'm still going to run my basic frequency separation action that you can get for free on my digital store or in my digital store, so you guys should definitely go check that out. So let's see our preview. Okay, great. So somewhere around 4 should be fine. Now if you guys want to know the right radius to use, I already made a video about that, so I'll link that in the description too. If you want to know the right radius you should use for your frequency separation. So right now I'm just going to pick my clone stamp tool and just work away. Now like I said, she does not have a lot of blemishes on her skin, and this is pretty far out, so she has really nice skin. This image was shot, it's a full image, so we don't have to do too much with that. So we're just going to take out just a few things, really tiny. We don't have to spend too much time here. I think for an image like this, the skin toning and the color grading is what will really matter at the end of the day. Okay, great. Now that we are done with that, I'm just going to merge this into one layer. Great. Change it to BFS, and now I want to run my dodge and burn. So I'm just going to run my complete dodge and burn actions. You can get that in my Retouching essentials pack, link in the description below, and I'll put a card up so you guys can go check that out. If you want to retouch better, retouch faster, check out my Retouching essentials pack. Okay, so right now with my micro dodge and burn, I have my invert check layer on. Seems to be in the perfect place, and I'm just going to pick a brush, make sure that my brush is really soft, take my hardness all the way to 0. My flow should be somewhere around 2 for an image like this, because I don't want to waste too much time here. And now I'm just going to dodge and burn away. Always make sure that your foreground color is white too. So right now I'm just going to dodge and burn, smoothing out the face. Now if I was working on a beauty image that was a lot more close up, I'll probably use, I typically use a radius of my flow radius should be about 1% for that, but since for an image like this, I'm just trying to make sure I'm not wasting too much time editing. And the variation between highlights and shadows on her face does not have to be perfect like a beauty image. I can just get away with not taking too much time to dodge and burn an image like this. So I'm going to be back when I am done dodging and burning this image. Okay guys, now we are back, and this is what we have done with our micro dodge and burn. This is before and this is the after. Before, after, I can see something right here that I'm going to take out again with my advanced frequency separation. Now people ask me a lot if they have to do this for every image, and you don't, you know, like the whole idea is to just teach you the best retouching technique you can use for any image, and it's left for you to now pick and choose what you want to use for any particular image that you are, you know, working on. Now I can easily take this out with my frequency separation because it's the easiest way to retouch. Really, frequency separation is easy, it's nice, but you know, micro dodge and burn just gives you a refined way to work with highlights and shadows that, you know, you can't do with frequency separation, you know, and it's just best you learn it so you know exactly what technique to use at any point. And also, we all have hero images. You know, you have this particular image that you really love and you would like to, you know, retouch it with your best technique. That's just what I do on this channel, show you guys the best technique to use to retouch an image, and it's left for you to pick out what you want to use. Okay, so now that we are done with that, what I'm going to do is just turn off these 2 layers up here and create a stamp visible layer, which is Command Option Shift and E on Mac and Control Alternate Shift and E on PC. And now I'm going to run my advanced frequency separation action, and, you know, still use like blur radius of 4.5. That should work for an image like this, and click OK. Okay, so right now a few blemishes down, take out, so right here on her face, pick my clone stamp tool, make sure I'm on sample current layer, flow 100, opacity 100, and just fix some few things that I can see here that I personally do not like. Okay, just to even out everything. If you guys want to know how this image was shot, you guys should definitely go check out McKinley's page on Instagram, and you guys can throw questions at him. Just tell him that you are from Prince Mason. Okay, great. So this right here too, I'm going to take out because I don't like that. Now, some people can argue that that's a scar, you should leave it, but you know, just like this looks a little bit better. Okay, great. So now I'm just going to pick my mixer brush tool. People are saying I should zoom in and show my settings, so I'm going to do that so you guys can see my settings up here for my mixer brush tool, and made a mistake there. So now I'm just going to zoom in and just work, not too much, maybe somewhere around here, and just work my way in with my mixer brush tool. So remember, with frequency separation, with your mixer brush tool, you are working on your low layer. Okay, you know, just even out the transitions between highlights and shadows. That's all we're doing here right now with the mixer brush tool. Okay. So just make sure you keep it light so it does not start looking fake. That's something that you have to be careful about when you are working with frequency separation. Even with dodge and burn, retouching in general, just make sure you keep it light so things don't start looking fake. Okay, so I personally think we've done skin some justice. So let's see where we started from. So this is the before and this is the after. Like I said, keep it light so that things don't start looking like they are fake. My clone stamp tool, just take this out. So let's see how before and after again. Before, after. So we've done some pretty good skin work. Right now I'm going to delete my second micro dodge and burn because I don't need those layers right now. If I was working on the beauty image, then I'll probably be using both, because I have to be like really precise. Okay, so now with my global dodge and burn, what I want to do is make sure I take my flow up to 3%, because that's what I typically use for my global dodge and burn. If you want to dodge and burn faster, then you can increase your flow, but 3% is fine. Opacity 100%. Make sure that my brush is the softest it can be and my foreground color is white. So right now, unlike micro dodge and burn where you are lightening the shadows and darkening the highlights, now we are going to be contouring. So it's called highlighting and contouring in makeup terms. That's what we're going to do. So we are going to dodge our highlights, that's brighten our highlights, and we are going to darken our shadows. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do with the global dodge and burn now. So right now let's start. Now let's start with dodge, but what I typically do is make sure I turn off all my other layers that I've worked on so I can see exactly how light is falling on her skin and dodge and burn that way. Now I'm not trying to bring out the same shadows and highlights back, but something close. So let's zoom in and I'll start with her nose here. Just bring back those highlights right now on her cheek, because that's where light typically falls, both sides, but more on this side, and her chin down here, right? So we'll have light here, bring that, show her collarbones too. Now what I do is that I use my keys, so my bracket open and bracket close keys, to increase and reduce my brush while I'm working, and that just helps me work faster. Right, okay, great. So down here you can see some nice highlights here. We're going to bring those in. She has some abs, so we're going to make that show. Okay, great. So I don't think there's too much to do here. Maybe somewhere right here with the dodge. Then her legs. Okay, so let's see what we've done before, after. So now I'm going to turn on my frequency separation to see before, after. You can see she stands out a lot more before, after, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. So now we are going to burn this image. Just give her some of that contour on her face back, then the hands, shoulder blades, the legs, and bring back some of those abs. Okay, great. So let's see how before, after. Okay, great. So the next thing I'll do is brighten her eyes, because the eyes have to stand out. So I have this action out for free, so go get my eyes and teeth whitening action. All you have to do is take a white brush, soft white brush, take your opacity all the way to 100 and just painting down here at the photo filter, and that's just going to brighten and whiten the eyes. And if for some reason you feel like it's too much, you can always reduce the opacity a little bit, so somewhere around here is fine. Okay, great. So now when it comes to skin, one thing I love doing is toning the skin. Right now, typically I would use the rich tones in my Retouching Essentials pack, right? But today I just want to show you a different way to go about it. If you don't have my Retouching Essentials pack, I advise you get it, but if you don't, all you have to do is, just come to black and white. I put it in my check layer, so I'm just going to take it out there. So come to black and white. Once you come to black and white, change your blend mode to, let's say, multiply. Now take your opacity to a point where you feel pretty comfortable. Keep your eyes on the skin, not on any other part of the image. So somewhere on the skin, let's say right here is fine for me. Then at this point, just work your way with your yellows and your reds to see how toned you want the skin to look, right? So if you want to tone it very well, then we can bring this down, but somewhere around here works for me. Okay, great. So now you can decide to just invert the layer and paint that into her skin, or if it works for you the way it's affecting the whole image, then you can just go with that. But if you don't want that, then you can just do this, just paint over the skin, and it'll look this way. But for me personally, I love the way it's affecting the whole image, so I'm just going to delete that layer mask. And I just love how the muted tones of the image, I love how it looks. So that's what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to reduce my opacity just a bit more, somewhere around this, and you can see everything, the whole image looks toned now. Now the next thing I want to do is use my skin tone LUTs. So for my skin tone LUTs, I'm going to be using 6, and I will click OK. Now this adds even more tones to the whole image, but for this one I am going to invert it and just paint this into her skin. I just want this one on her skin. Now I don't have to be perfect. This just works for me on her skin. Okay, that looks good. So that's the before and that's the after. Love the tones of her skin. Now another thing I want to do is just take it out of her eyes and her lips, because it's toning down the whole image. Take it out of her lips too. Okay, great. Now this looks good, but I want the hair to stand out. So what we're going to do is create a curves adjustment layer and just pull that up, add some contrast to it, and then create a hue saturation layer and increase my saturation. And I'll put both of them in a group and create a layer mask for that group. Then invert the group, Command I, Control I on PC. Make sure my brush is on white, because on layer mask, black hides, white reveals. So now that this layer mask is black, it's hiding. And if I want to reveal what's on that layer mask, I'll just paint over with white brush. Okay, great. So this image looks really good now, right? So this is where we were coming from right here, and this is where we are at right now. Now she is still not standing out from the background. You see like a lot of grains and all that stuff. So right now what I want to do is color grade. Now I know a lot of you guys have been sleeping on my creative color LUTs, and you guys need to get some of that, because I love how it works with outdoor images. So my creative color LUTs, right, it's a preset pack or a LUT pack I released a while ago, and you guys need to get some of that stuff. So right now I am going to try let's see, 7, because that's muted grains. It's just going to mute the grains in the image, and your image is going to stand out. And that's what we're looking for in this image, right? So what I'm going to do is just dial this down just a little bit and make sure that the grains are muted. If you guys can see, that's the before, that's the after. I don't want the grains to stand out more than her skin tones. That's one thing you have to put in mind when you are working on portrait images. You don't want the situation whereby the background is taken away from your image. So this has this really nice tropical look right now. Now, if I want to add some warmth to her, I'm just going to pick another LUT. Hey guys, for a quick minute my Photoshop started acting up and I had to merge all my layers for my macro dodge and burn together to be able to save it. But anyways, let's continue. So what I did was I created a second color lookup layer, and right now I am going to make the image just a little bit warmer because I want her skin to stand out. So I am going to go to my creative color LUTs and use one of my LUTs there again. Okay, so I used the first LUT for my creative color LUT, and what I'm going to do right now is just reduce the opacity till a point where I am satisfied, and somewhere around that's a little bit too much, so somewhere around here works for me. So let's see our image before and after. So let's see the before again and the after. You guys can see the image looks a lot better right now, like this, unlike before when everything was just pretty bright. You had all the greens and everything and just so much color. Right now that everything is pretty muted, it just looks really good. So now we want this image to stand out. What are we going to do? Create a new layer and pick your gradient tool and just draw down. As you can see, she's standing out and every other place is dark. So it's kind of like a vignette effect from your lens, right? You can go through all the opacities to find something that works for you. So something like this looks good. It just makes everywhere dark and she is standing out. But I don't think I'm going to go with soft light. Maybe darken or multiply would be a better one to go with right now. Okay, great. So what I also do is create a layer mask and make sure that I paint her out. So right now I'm trying to hide this layer, so to make sure that she is painted almost so out, but her legs are still going to be part of the vignette. I just want her body to stand out. I can also just reduce my flow all the way to like 4 and just paint her legs out slightly. Then what I can also do is just make sure I brighten her out a little bit, but I think I'll do that in Capture One. So let's just go back out and see our image before. This is where we started, and after. Looks a lot muted. She's standing out a lot more now from the background, and what we're going to do is that we're going to take this image all the way to Capture One and finish up there. Oh, one last thing. What I want to do is create another stamp visible layer, which is Command Option Shift and E, while I'm saving this, and go to filter, liquify. Remember I said we were going to make her hands not look this way, so what we're going to do is just pull this in slightly. At this point nobody except you will notice that you've done anything here. Okay, great. So let's see our before and our after, and okay guys, so now our image is in Capture One, and this is where this started from. This is where we are right now. Let me just turn off my exposure warning. So this is where we started from, this is where we are at right now. So there are a few things you can do in Capture One. The thing I love doing is just working with my luma curves, and we just pull this out so the whole image is just a tad bit brighter. But you can check your exposure warning, you can see it's still not overly exposed. And next thing I want to do is just go all the way to my color balance. This is a tutorial that I'm still going to make, and my midtones, I'm just going to pull my midtones down, and it just gives the whole skin this really toned look. And I can pull my highlights down just a little bit to go back to my luma curves. I think that was just too much, and just add some contrast to the image. So let's see before and after. It looked a little bit darker when it came in, and I think I like the look when it came in. Retouching is just about, you just keep trying till you find something that works. Before, after, before, after. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I am still going to add some vignettes right here in Photoshop, and I just want her to still stand out. So this are before, this are after. Okay, so before, after. Just going to take out my luma curve. Yes, just going to take out my luma curve. I love how everything looks right now. Make my highlights stand out. Luma curve just a tiny bit. Okay, great. Let's see my before and after. Before, after. Love how this looks now. Can just pull my shadows down just a little bit. Pull my blacks up. At this point, it's just preference. Just depends on what you want at this point. There is different strokes for different folks, basically. But right here in the three-way color balance tool, there are a few things that you can do if you want to. Right, I can add some greens to my shadows at this point, or I can add some blues to my shadows. Let's see how that looks. Just add some blues to my shadows, add some warmth to my midtones and my highlights, and some yellows to my highlights. See, image is looking pretty decent from where we came to where we're at right now. Before, after. So it just depends on what you want to do at this point, but I think this is a pretty good look from where we started, which is right here. This is our before, this is our after. Let's see, before, after, before, after. That looks good. And let's see what we brought in from Photoshop and what we have done in Capture One. Now I just like to add some grains, so tubular grains to my image, and it just gives it a soft look and a more textured look, and that's it. That is our image. So these are the two images that we have retouched, two different looks, but literally the same concept. The major difference is I did not do any color grading in Capture One with this particular image. If you guys want to see some finishing styles from Capture One, if you want me to create a preset pack for that, then let me know. Something I'll definitely look into. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. Let's see our before again and our after. Let's see our before and our after. Thank you so much. Check out my preset pack for my skin tone LUTs. Check out my retouching essentials pack. Give this video a thumbs up. Anything you do supports the channel, and keep supporting. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have an amazing day, guys. Peace out.